It's Friday, and we're talking about how to cultivate resiliency in children that we have the joy to accompany. And the first F word for cultivating resiliency was foundation. And today's F word is family. Family. Family is training ground for life. In family, we learn how to live out that foundational sense of belonging. And we first learn to do that by being fully present. And I'd like to just share a short story about my failure at being present with my youngest daughter. She and I were having a bit of, let's say, vigorous fellowship in the kitchen. And she was making her case, and I was making mine while she was speaking, by the way. And she finally does this to me. I'm right here. You're not listening. And at first I thought, did she snap at me? And then second I thought, oh, she was right. I wasn't present. My body was there, but inside my mind and my heart, I was making my arguments and thinking what I was going to say next. I wasn't present. And whatever bid for connection, this sense of belonging that she was longing for with me, even as we were having vigorous fellowship, I missed it because I was wrapped up in the outcome of this conversation we were having. I just wasn't there. I was in the courtroom preparing my final arguments. Well, in Matthew 18, where Jesus is talking about how to have conversations, hard conversations, he reminds us, where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I'm there among them. And when we bring our full attention and intention to the person before us, whether that conversation is easy or whether it's difficult, we open ourselves to the other. And we also open ourselves to hearing God, to remembering our belonging. So when we are fully present to another, we realize C.S. Lewis's words are true, that we have never met a mere mortal, and that were we to see each other as we really are, as God sees us, we would be tempted to bow down and worship. We're just really that amazing. Being fully present to another, though, will cost us something. Being fully present to our children will cost us something. It will cost us our vulnerability, because when we're present to another, we will change. Listening open and wholeheartedly to my daughter was going to shift and change something in me. I had moved, though, to the practical outcome of the vigorous fellowship, but I didn't hear her longing to be heard, to connect. I couldn't. I had internally left her presence. So what does presence look like? Well, I like to use the acronym BOW, B-O-W. Well, first, being present looks like bodily. For me, at that time in the kitchen with the vigorous fellowship, I had my arms folded. And that was not telling her with my body that I was opening to hearing. Also, holding our screens or being distracted by other things is not being fully present to someone. It's not allowing that sense of being with to cultivate resiliency. So B is for body. Notice your body. And the other is O for openness. Am I open to whatever they may have to say? To whatever they may have to say? Whether that's something that I disapprove of or something that feels harmful, am I open to really a generous hearing? And also, am I open to the possibility of change within me? And the W is wonder. I wonder what is happening in the other person. I wonder what their perspective is. And maybe even very importantly is I wonder what God is doing to cultivate, again, the resiliency of the two of us as we connect as family and being fully present to each other. Connection is the most important thing that children can learn in family. Even as we have times when our wills, when our kingdom or queendoms clash, It is that thin thread of connection that matters. How we talk about ourselves also is how our children will talk about themselves. So listening to how we disconnect even from ourselves in our families is an important piece of our own growth towards resiliency. We learn to be gentle with our children as we learn to be gentle with ourselves. Only the amount that we accept ourselves will be the amount that we can accept our children. So how do we do this work inside of us? We grow together. We learn together. So maybe as you think about the second F word, family, what would it look like in your family, whatever your family looks like? All versions of family count. What would it look like to continue to cultivate connection, which leads to resiliency in your family? Join me next Friday. See what our next F word is.